Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Compassionate Citizen. I am Emily, one of your hosts today. I have, along with Kurt, I have Amanda Russell and Zach Clayton for today. Over to you, Mr. Kurt.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gulmer. I appreciate it. So we are here as a collection of compassionate citizens. And yes, I am Kurt Roska, pleased to be co-hosting this with Emily. And we are off to the races on this newest episode of the Compassionate Citizens podcast. A little bit of background on these podcasts. We are doing this in concert with what we produce on every Wednesday. We produce Prosperity Pathways podcasts, and we have these bundled together for what we do on restreaming and syndicating and organizing things out to the masses around the World Wide Web. So that's kind of how we work here. And then we have another bundle that we do on Fridays and Saturdays with production. And you're seeing all these podcasts coming out at various times through the week because we repeat our live streaming. And Fridays, we have Friendly Fridays by Onward and Upward, and Saturdays, The World of Ability. And on Wednesdays, we also have podcasts we do over radio. You can check it out at riverwestradio.com. Click on shows, and it is Ability MK Now, a Milwaukee, Wisconsin-centric conversation that happens weekly on that basis. So these 5 shows are compiled into a project that we've had running all year here, and it is the formulation of the World of Ability Podcast Network. And this is all powered by and made possible by Transform You Media Network. So now this is the Compassionate Citizens Podcast. It is the Compassionate Citizens Podcast because a year and a half ago, I was in discussions with a gentleman out of Chicago, Illinois, Norland Dimon, and he is very involved in the Compassionate Citizens Project. And so as I experience it with Norland, it is something inspired out of our faith communities. And it's a reaction to, in the last handful of years, to the United States of America political climate. And so everything we see on social media, and I don't think if you're partaking in USA politics, it doesn't take much to understand that there is a little volatility there, and folks at home and our citizens have experienced a lot of friction. And so the Compassionate Citizens Project is a little bit of a humanitarian effort to say, almost like we've heard the soundbite before, can't we just all get along? So here we are at the Compassionate Citizens Podcast, broadcasting the idea of how compassion can go a long ways. And so with that, we have Amanda Russell here, who on LinkedIn is showing herself as a connector, a legal advocate, a change agent, an event specialist, and a networking diva. And she has, behind this work that she does, Legal Shield. And I like the graphic on her LinkedIn profile. It says, inspire, believe, achieve. So Amanda, come on in here. Tell us a little bit of the story about how you got connected to Legal Shield. And I was talking a little bit about our United States politics, but we can segue into government and then our legal system.
Oh,
and,
right. Yeah.
And I've heard it many times in my life. We're in a very sue happy, nation here in the USA, a very litigious community we are as the 50 supposedly United States of America. But again, give us a little bit of the backdrop. How did you get started in Legal Shield? What is it for you? Why are you so devoted to it? And where do you see in the Legal Shield community? I could give my rendition, but I want to hear it from you. Where is compassion in the Legal Shield community?
I appreciate that. And thank you, Kurt and Emily, for having me on this podcast today. Truly honored. And thank you. Yeah, I put a lot of fancy little terms there on the LinkedIn. They say to have more word catchy words, right, to grab people's attention instead of all the boring stuff we can go through. But yeah, I would say it's been an exciting journey. I've been a Legal Shield associate for the past 12 years, and it's been incredible. Like, you never thought that I'd wake up and be this Legal Shield associate person I am today. But I always had a passion to just help people, right? Just helping people, seeing people getting taken advantage of. I wanted to do the lawyer course. When I went to York University here, I'm in Mississauga, Ontario. And, you know, in Canada here, I don't know, when I saw those books and they're like so like ridiculously thick, I don't know, that kind of like turned me away. So I went the business administration route, did that whole bit. You know, if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I did the good squid to got a good school, got the education, got my good job. I was working in a corporate gig for like the past 10 odd years, you know, with the company. But as I was told from one of the coworkers there, they're like, you know what, you're an administrative, you are like a parasite. So I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Knowing I just spent my past 10 years like literally slaving away all my time for you guys just to be termed a parasite. But I get it. You know, at the end of the day, we're in the corporate world. They just treat people like numbers. And this is when I was introduced to Legal Shield. Somebody invited me to come out to a presentation. You know, I'm sure with folks know that you go to the hotel meeting and you're like, okay, what are they going to try and sell me today? But when I went there, I was actually blown away by the service that they were providing. When I heard that, oh my gosh, people can get access to the legal system for literally less than $1 a day, I was like, there's no way. Like, I was like, this can't be real, right? Because we know how expensive the legal system is. And I mean, the majority of us are simply priced out. So I just love the fact that Legal Shield's whole mission and vision was to really help empower and protect more people with getting access to a system that we've been priced out of. And I found that with the Legal Shield service, I mean, just to be transparent, so you guys know, it is $30 a day. It's a month by month, no contract, no obligation. And I kind of like that too, because I'm like, okay, you know, I don't want to be tied in or bounded into any contract with something I wasn't too sure how it's going to work for me. So when I heard about that concept, I was like, no way, like, how does this exist? Is this real, right? Then when I heard on the other side how, you know, they were transforming people's lives and helping so many people with the services, you know, people going through family situations, legal situations where they just didn't know who to turn to and just get that peace of mind. And just seeing like the stress and the relief and how much money like they saved by simply having access to the lawyers and attorneys across Canada and the US. And just so you guys know, it's been in the US for 50 years. And as we know, you know, the US folks, I always like to hear those jingles where you slip, trip, bust your lip, and then you get a lawyer, right? So whenever you go into the US, you see, as soon as you drive into the US, into Buffalo, all those signs for lawyers. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do they get so much business? I swear the competition is crazy out here. But on the money side, when I heard that, oh wow, these people are earning this type of income by referring something I would have naturally referred anyways, it just like, okay, it was a no-brainer for me. I signed up, and here I am 12 years later. I'm really working on building a team of people that can help just simply educate. And I think that's the most important part, is the education component, and just letting people know that they have another way, right? We don't need to go to the traditional legal system, because as we all know, it's broken, right? It's just pure corruption. And you know, anyone that's dealt with a lawyer, they haven't had a pleasant experience. They're like, oh my God, this guy charged me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Then they didn't get back to me. And I have like a whole bunch of nightmare stories I've heard from like members and past clients. And this is where for me it was like simply rewarding to know that, oh my gosh, I'm making a difference while now making a living. It was a great deal. And I mean, with the pandemic happening now, it's been insane. Like, especially, you know, with the times that we're living in now, there's so many questions, right? What are our rights now? I mean, vaccine versus no vaccine. People getting fired right now from jobs just because of you know, I find it's a personal choice. Everybody should be able to be allowed to make that personal medical choice, regardless, you know, kind of what's happening out there. I get it, but at the end of the day, it's still your personal choice. But now people are getting let go and being challenged, and you know, people with parents with young kids, they're like, what do I do now? My kid can't go to university because they didn't get the vaccine, and they're just lost, right? So this is where at least I'm able to give a little bit more insight to say, hey, you know what, I totally get it. This is where I can get you connected to our law firm. You can talk to them, find out what your rights are, because each of us have an individual situation that we're going through, right? And again, just providing that peace of mind. And I think that especially with individuals, families, even small business owners, it's huge. As a small business owner, we know how much it costs for lawyers. So when I tell a small business owner, they're like, what? $30, $50 for the plan? Oh my gosh, where have you been? Like, I just paid this guy like $3,000 to draft me a contract. I'm like, yeah, so sorry, but here we are. We can help now. So I say, it's been an actually incredible journey, and I really look forward to seeing and help, like simply serving. I think that's the best mission in life, is to like serve. We're very service based, and the more that we can help people, the more I find that it's like internal reward, right? I think it's the most gratitude and most gratifying, satisfying thing that we can do, is just provide as much service as we can and help as many people as we can with the various services or products or whatever people are doing out there, but make a difference, right? And this is where I find Legal Shield has been that incredible vehicle to help. So that's just a little bit about me. Sorry, I went on a tangent, but go ahead.
You guys
Yeah, that's
also,
awesome.
you guys also have a great program for identity theft, correct?
Oh my gosh, yes. I should have touched on that too. Thank you for touching on that. Yeah, identity theft, I mean, being on the rise. They created a new product called ID Shield. Especially in the US, it's very powerful. I think in the US, the plan is a lot stronger as well, because it's the 3 bureaus. They help, actually now we help with credit counseling as well. And God forbid, your identity is compromised. As we know, it's not a matter of if, but when. All the government agencies have been compromised, the banks have been compromised. I think everyone we've done business with has been compromised. So, I mean, our information is out there, and I think it's becoming more of a concern now. People are starting to realize, like, wait a minute, well, can I protect my identity? What can I do to protect those passwords? Because actually, I just got a call from Revenue Canada saying they're going to send out a sheriff to arrest me if I don't pay these taxes, right? So it's like, okay, what do you do? Like, I think the first time I got that call, I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, I paid my taxes. I called my accountant, I called my lawyer. I'm like, hey man, they're threatening to like send a cop to my door if I don't get these things settled. They're like, no, it's a scam. So with identity theft, I think that's a really powerful, because if you are compromised, it is a legal nightmare. And I know one guy, he was in real estate, his accounts, he got compromised. They froze all his accounts. He couldn't travel, couldn't leave the country. But with the ID Shield product that we have, they were able to get a licensed private investigator assigned to his case, and they went to work for him to basically restore your identity back to pre-theft status. So it's like your house burning down and you have someone come in to rebuild it back to what it was. And we can't make your credit better, but at least we can get it back to where you were. But yes, no, I thank you for asking about that, because that is another huge, powerful service that we actually add on with the legal plan, because it's a 2-in-1 deal we find.
Then you guys also have one more program. You've got Ladies of...
Oh, Ladies of Justice.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so happy
Ladies of
you know
Justice.
about us. Yes, no, thank you. And yeah, with the Ladies of Justice movement, it's really helping to empower more women, right? To have these conversations amongst households, amongst family, amongst friends. It's a more of a softer approach, but it's nice to know that we can get more women involved in a mission. And there's a lot of stay-at-home moms, or just women that are just like, hey, I want to do something different, right? I mean, now that we've seen what the pandemic has created, we want to be able to work from home, to be with our family, to be with our kids. So I love the Ladies of Justice movement, because really helping to empower more women and getting them into their own business, right? To make a difference again. And now they're creating a living, and that extra income for their family is huge. So I love the Ladies of Justice. I'm actually looking to do more Zoom online events now. I started up the Ladies of Justice like during the coffee shops, and we come around in the coffee shop and do our talks. But then the pandemic hit and it shut us all down. So, here we are in the online world. I mean, I guess thank God for Zoom. We've all become Zoom experts now. But now we're doing all the meetings and online networking on Zoom now, which is great, because at least it's nice to be able to still connect with everybody this way, right? So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, no thanks. Yeah, I still can't beat the face-to-face. I miss the energy of being in a room full of people, but at least we can still see each other this way.
Yeah,
Well, aloha, I'm Marianne of Waikiki, and I could compliment on the Legal Shield
Okay.
aspect too. Is I'm grateful that Dr. Liddy, intellectual property attorney out of Orlando, has accepted me as a client to federally
Amazing.
trademark my Acts of Kindness series, and she wants me to get her Legal Shield also too, and moving forward, I just kind of I wanted everything organized. And I usually talk to Emily and Kurt, and thank you so much too, about like my quarter reviews, where expenses are going, where I'm allocating the money for projects, etc. And I kind of, I did GoDaddy, got to pay for another thing here, another thing there. And I just was like, I don't have the boat anymore. I take the bus. I'm staying home. I don't think I need it right now. I'll look at it 2022. But anyway, Happy Neighborhood Project had a Smart Up business yesterday, and that was my question, and made a very strong point. And what happened too is PayPal frauded me for labels, UPS labels. And Dr. Liddy had called me because there was a transaction, and I called because I did this, and then I clicked yours by accident to say I didn't pay you. Anyway, and she's called anyway. I understand it. And I'm calling to her to get signed up, because not only that, the push from H&P networking to get signed up, because I know it's going to be more worth the 1 year up advance than a month, I want to say, or a month you can do it, versus the one-time thing. And just like reiterating again too, I was frauded by PayPal for $7 people doing labels. And she's calling me. I don't need that happening, or future business, or and also too with the apps, games, and taxes and all that. So it is on my accomplished list today. Not to do, it's going to be accomplished. Okay.
I love that.
A whole different list that I have now. But thank you for sharing and answering some of those questions too, because that's all the identity and all that kind of information, especially with my new business name getting out there. And app games and all that stuff that I know people are going to be copywriting me and trying to fraud, etc., and all that stuff too. And I'm to the age now too that I really need to think about where my business will be going, how I will sell it off. I'm going to be going into 55 and older senior living next year. I am applying for that. Medicare review is up. So it's all a good time to kind of realign all this stuff and get in order for what's going to come to, and to leave my will and legacy with these funds to allocate to my deaf friend, and who knows, deaf orphanages, Clean Water Foundation, I'm not sure, but I have it in mind. And if it comes to you, it's for yours to do. And again, it's on my accomplishment. So thank you so much for being here and being so bubbly and energetic about all this amazing information. And again, if it comes to you, it's for yours to do. So glad to be here, Emily and Kurt. Thank you so much. Nice to see you again, Zach.
Good to see you.
What a great morning traveling. And we opened up the HNP Asian
fantastic.
earlier this morning. Yes, as well as
It should be talent connection.
talent. There we go. Talent. That's right. I got the power. I got the talent. Right, Emily?
Yep, you got the talent part.
So yes, it's been a very, very busy morning, but very beneficial with all the networking, all these new people coming in and highlighting everybody what a success we had for H&P Summit last week, Friday. All the connections that we made, it was like speed dating, but it was speed networking, and then all the after one-on-ones, new friendships that we developed out of it, and moving forward and shifting the happiness worldwide. So again, thank you for hosting this, Emily and Kurt. And nice to meet you too, Zach. I'm sure we're gonna be doing some more in the future when we get a little move forward. But anyway, I am also co-hosting Thursdays with Denise Vargas, with our ambassador, Kurt Roskoff, HNP Ability, that's Thursday mornings. I'm the sign language interpreter. And we are expanding, and we're gonna be hosting a disability day in December 3rd. So we're in the works of talking about it. So anybody who wants to come in and join us is more than welcome to join HNP Ability and share what we can do. Also, we're offering information as experts to business owners who are hiring persons with disabilities or want to hire with somebody with a person with disability, or you're a business owner that acquired a disability and want to do. So we really appreciate all these different people speaking, from Legal Shield, just like you just did, to healthcare Medicare insurance. Medicare is coming up. Nicholas is a amazing man, has given presentations with Daisy. All these amazing people with HNP that are educating us, getting us motivated to get on top of these things that we need to accomplish by the end of the year. Because I think we're now past under 70 days to the end of the year. And we got lots to do so that we can move into forward to what 2022. And make sure your ADA websites are in review too with Trevor Gibbs. So back to you, Emily or Kurt. Zach, great to be here again. Got more to share as October is anti-bullying month, and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Zach, would you like to say, sort of explain about what you do and your organization?
Actually, I did have one more thing for Amanda. I wanted to bring up one more thing.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, with what Mary Ann said. You guys also offer a very special thing for wills. So you might want to
Touch on
help
that.
us explain that. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And thank you so much. I'm actually putting together a will workshop for that, because I find the wills, that is the one, I think the greatest rewards of that we provide for our members is just knowing that you get a will, living will, power of attorney for property, power of attorney for personal care. I tell everyone, hey, we all know our birth date. We don't know our dirt date, right? It's the last love letter for our family. And especially with my mom, she suffered from dementia and I was her power of attorney. And, going through the entire process and seeing, I was her caregiver. And then unfortunately I had to put her into the nursing home. But as soon as, we got into the institutions, they're like, okay, we want that power of attorney. Where's the will? We want to make sure that you are the person that's going to represent her, because I am her biggest advocate to make sure to look after her. So that's why I tell folks that, God forbid anything happens out there, but it's just the peace of mind knowing that you have that will completed and in place, especially to protect your loved ones. Have a peace of mind, right? I've seen so many family disputes, right, take place by simply not having a will. There's even like a lot of celebrities that just don't have a will, and you can see the chaos. Like, there are millions of dollars, like, in their accounts, but then the government comes along, freezes it, literally taxes you to death. And then the family is just going through like incredible stress, trying to figure out, how to manage the finances. I mean, funerals, having to go through my mom's funeral now, it's an expensive process. And if you're not prepared and you don't have these conversations, and I know they're hard conversations, nobody wants to have it. People are like, oh, it's too morbid. I don't want to think about that. But I'm like, unfortunately, we do, need to have a moment of a conversation with the family, just to understand, like, what are their wishes, right? How do they want their service? What kind of casket? Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated, right? Because these things that you should kind of know, God forbid anything does take place, but at least you know that you have your wishes that are in place. People know what to do, where to find, I think, your will also, right? Because then all of a sudden when she passed away, I'm like, wait a minute, how do I connect all your accounts, all the people you've done business with? So I'm very fortunate she actually kept a list of all the people that she had accounts and stuff with. I was able to call. But the will is a single most important document I think anybody will write in their lifetime. So, and it's so powerful that Legal Shield actually provides that, because typically it costs $500 to $1,000 to simply get that document done. And prior to me getting started with Legal Shield, my mom had to update her will, and it cost her $900 to go back to her other lawyer that she was dealing with, or attorney out in the US. But I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. I mean, for $30, we could have helped you get that done. So however people want to look at it, but it's like, yeah, you can kind of prepay for a will in a state like that. It's like, I don't have anything else going on. Like, well, just get your will done. It's well worth the money. And, if anything else happens, if that one incident occurs, it's paid for your membership for a lifetime. Because, with that one phone call to a lawyer, it'll save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So thank you so much. Yeah, wills are huge. I appreciate you asking that. I was literally putting a will workshop together today. My team's like, oh my gosh, I need to get my will done. So many people just put it off. But again, we just don't know when that dirt date's going to come up, right? So we want to make sure that document's in place.
There are so many things that Legal Shield does offer. I know that I've worked with a couple people, and there's ticket reviews and stuff like that for for a few things, but I've worked with a couple people who are Legal Shield representatives, and they always tell us that your story about about getting called from the tax representative. I don't know how many times I've been told that my social security number is no longer valid by a robot. And I'm like, yeah, I think it is valid,
Right?
so, but yeah, so scammers will do anything to try to get you. So,
Oh, yeah, no, they're out there in full force. I think the black market, that's what I said, identity theft is the fastest growing crime in North America.
Yep.
It surpasses the drug trade because it's so much easier to sell a SIN number, a health card. In Canada, we had that red health card. I don't know about the US, but people will come over and just trade cards with their family, or they'll sell that just to get into access to the hospitals, right? So it's crazy what can be done, and it's so hard to catch these folks on the dark web. So they can keep selling that same number. I met a lady and she apparently went to go for a job at the hospital and she was already working there. So she's like, wait a minute, what do I do? Right? How do I prove that she's not me and I'm me? So that was a whole other conflict.
that's crazy.
All right.
It really
Well, very
is.
good. Very good, Amanda. You're welcome to stay on as long as you want. We had a plan that this was a wrap-up time for you. I don't know if there's
Yes.
anything else you want to sneak in quick, or if you're gonna hop off of here, or what's best
Oh yeah,
for you?
so I would say my last plug is to follow me on Instagram under Amanda Connects. I guess this is all recorded. Should I put anything in the chat? Does it get seen?
Yeah, you can go ahead and put anything in the chat you would like for our post-production. And then at the same time, I encourage you to verbalize it for our audience that's only listening to the show.
Oh,
Go ahead
perfect.
and verbalize what you're typing there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I would love to connect. I know social media is the land that we live in now. So if you are on Instagram, do follow me, Amanda Connects, AMANDA CONNECTS. And, please message, call me, whatever you need, however I can help, even to have a conversation. I'm happy to help there. And also on the other note, I have a nonprofit Jelly Social networking group as well. So if I can connect any other fellow entrepreneurs, similar Happy Neighborhood Project, it's a fabulous platform. And I loving Happy Neighborhood Project and connecting with all the community here. So we would love to try to merge. I'm trying to get Jelly Social over to Happy Neighborhood Project. So I'm working on that. So talk to Edwin. That'd be great. Put a plug in for me. But I would love to open, a BIPOC community, because that's who Jelly Social, we represent BIPOC community. And for those that don't know, it's Black, Indigenous, people of color. We love our allies, but we just want to really help and serve as many people as we can from these underrepresented communities, and just making sure people know there's other ways and people doing business out there that they can reallocate some dollars to.
That is good stuff. So you're welcome back to our podcast anytime. And it sounds like you're wrapped up here for the moment. Is that right? Are you ready to?
Yes. I'll stay on for about 5 more minutes. I would love to hear a little bit more about Zach and like what he does, but I'll stay around and then I'll just slowly head off. I'll say bye before I go.
Okay, sounds good. So Zach,
Thanks for
take
having
it away.
me.
Give a little bit of a introduction in terms of your Community Pay It Forward program. And I always like to back up the clock and take us to a time before you were doing it, and then what happened, and then you responded to it. Next thing you know, you're formulating Community Pay It Forward. Tell us your story. What you got, Zach?
Well, the story is that, I've been a guy who my entire life, I've liked trying to find ways to help people, as I think most of us in this realm here has. And one of the things that I used to always do, I am a biker. That's one of my passions. That's one of the things that I love to do. And 7 years ago, somebody decided that they needed my lane a little bit more than I needed it on my motorcycle, and they ended up running me off the road. I ended up suffering multiple head and facial and neck fractures. I was in a ditch for over 7 hours. They were kind enough to come and shut off my lights because, Harley Davidson batteries are really expensive. So I'm glad that I didn't have to pay for a battery. And it was kind of one of those things that as people who are in the nonprofit world, that nonprofits don't generally start from a happy place. Usually there's a problem that's been seen or experienced or whatever. Well, this was my story. I went from where I was working 70 hours a week. I had a nice job, nice life, nice car, nice bike, all this stuff, to where all of a sudden all that was gone. The job was gone. The disability had kicked in because I had TBI and brain injury. And so I started watching everything fly out the window. The bike was repossessed. The truck was repossessed. I lost my home. The family suffered from it. And I started thinking to myself that, this just isn't right, that people have one bad thing happen to them and it just compounds and compounds. And, a lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with them. So what I did is we also talked to a lot of small business owners in the biking world, in the motorcycle world. What we do is, we have what are called poker runs, to where you go from one store to another trying to find donations that you can give away and raise money for sick children or a person who's been injured or anything like that. So I got to know and got to be really good friends with all these medium and small, medium businesses, mediums. I'm just going to leave it at that. I kind of like that. But all these medium and small businesses. And unfortunately, due to floods or fires here in Colorado, we saw a lot of these businesses going under because people just had no access to them. And it was such a hard time watching all these great people fail. These people who are willing to give you the shirts off their back, yet they can't keep their own doors open. So while I was recovering, I wanted to find a way that maybe we could start helping people in a different way. And one of the things that I really started noticing is, like, a lot of these places are giving away a referral fee to, shop with us and we'll give you $20. And I started thinking to myself, what if we took that $20? Because it can be like one of my favorite stories to tell is, and Amanda, this will really reach to you because, you have that time where you don't need a coat for 4 or 5 months, 6 months, whatever it is. You put on your coat and you find $20 in there. And you're like, wow, I didn't miss that. But boy, I could have used it a couple of weeks ago. I'm out of soda or something like that. If we invest that $20 and we put that money to a single mom who's trying to put food and cereal on the table of their children, that money becomes more important than money. It becomes a lifeline. And so what we've done is we're working real hard to try to get as many partners in the business world to join us, who will give us a referral fee, and we can take and turn that referral fee back into the community for nonprofits, for families in emergency needs, for children trying to raise money for school, church programs, club payments, stuff like that, for our heroes, both country and community, and even for small business owners who are trying to get a start and trying to make, because we all know, we've all been part of the small business world. It's not an easy world, and there's a lot of times that you need something. One of the greater things about doing it this way is I've learned a lot more about the nonprofits that I work with. I knew of these nonprofits, but I didn't know of these nonprofits. I didn't know exactly what they do. Now I know intimately what they do. And when somebody comes up to me and they say, hey, we've got this problem, one of my dearest friends in the world is John Vogels, and he started Murdered Angels after his 3-year-old son escaped from the house and drowned in a pool, in a pond on their property. And John turned this tragedy around, and now John and his wife and their daughter Raven help people who lose children, help them to through the suffering, through the trying to find a way of coping, a coping mechanism, whether that's alcohol or drugs. They try to find ways to help you revert from that and get you with a good group of people who are going to help you out. The Avery Center, one of my dear friends, started this program right here in Greeley, Colorado, after she spent a good portion of her life in the trafficking world. And once she was rescued from that, she said, you know what, I'm turning this to a positive. And what she does now is when somebody gets rescued, she helps re-educate these individuals that, you know what, this guy standing in front of you is here for a legitimate reason. He's not here to hurt you. So they reintegrate them back into the community. They take and they rebuild their self-esteem, help them get back into a positive mindset. They just try to help people. That's one of the greatest things in the world about this, is because I learn about these. Now, if somebody comes to us and they say, hey, you know what, we've got somebody with this problem, who do you have that we can help? Not only can we help by the Avery Center by saying, you know what, go and shop with any of our great partners, and they're going to donate a portion to that cause. Not only is that going to happen, but now we can also guide people to where they can go. And it's a way that you're not taking any money, any additional money out of your pocket. You're shopping for what your family needs. The small business is getting a boost in sales, which is helping the local economy, and you're helping somebody. All we're doing is building a puzzle where we're all working together. Kurt, you were talking about the government, and the strife in the government right now. This is one way that we can try to get around all that. This is one way that we can all remember, hey, we are all human beings. Amanda, this is something that fits right into the Jelly project you were talking about. We're all human beings. And if we work together, it's not going to be as difficult as it has to be. This is a way that you can remember we all at some point in time need help. And if I can alter your shopping to where you shop with one of my partners, and these guys get to give something to your neighbor who broke her leg and she's going to be out of work for 6 months, that's great. Your money can turn into a lifeline for somebody. Might not change their life forever, but it's going to change it for right now. If we can all get together and we can make enough donations, if we can get these sales made to where we can make one mortgage payment to where a family's not on the street, if we can help a community by strengthening the park to where kids can play together safely and not have to worry about the drugs and the violence and everything like that. We were mentioned it's violence, abuse or bullying month. Sorry. And if we can just get together and do good things together, it's going to help everybody. And so I started Community Pay It Forward just with the mindset. I want to help people, and I want to see people get help. I want to make it as easy as possible, So, but that's pretty much what we do. We invite everybody to join us at communitypayitforward.us. We are also on LinkedIn. I'm under Zach Clayton Lyon. And Facebook, we're communitypayitforward.us. Or no, just Community Pay It Forward, sorry. But you can always get a hold of me at networking at communitypayitforward.us. So I'll rewind that and go through it again towards the end of the show. But yeah, this is just, it's the greatest way to help businesses in need, help causes in need, and just bring us together. Nobody has to go it alone when we all come together.
There you go. So what do you think, Amanda?
Oh my gosh, I love what you do. That is incredible. And I think just sharing the different organizations and nonprofit, because as you were speaking on that, I gotta have a one-on-one on you too, because we starting this whole social initiative where we're like, there are people that we said we have to be entrepreneur activists, right? because entrepreneurs, small business, we're like change makers, right? Change agents in that sense. And I think what you're doing is phenomenal, especially like the journey that you've been through and being able to find something positive to say, hey guys, based on my experience, I want to be able to give back and help because I know other people going through similar situations and they don't know who to turn to and the support. And there's so many people I meet and they're just like, man, I don't know. I want to help, but I don't know how, right? And like the Avery Center that you shared with, I have another group I'm associated, and the women there, they want to help more with like the trafficking, because the human trafficking is it's a big issue that is not talked about enough. And I think that's great to be able to help and say, hey, there's a center that you can plug into with there's other women and other support groups. I mean, what you're doing is incredible. So I look forward to learning more about how we can help. I mean, from this side of town too, and see what difference we can make, right?
Well, Amanda, I'm looking forward to talking to you. I did connect with you on LinkedIn just to let
Thanks.
you
Oh,
know.
yes, I just saw it.
But I mean, one of the greatest things about it, and one of the worst things for anybody in the nonprofit world, and once again, this is something that we can all we can all relate to. One of the worst things in the world is hearing those words. I wish I would have known about you before ... happened.
Yes.
Okay, that's one of the things that's so devastating for people to hear, because as the smaller nonprofits, especially as they're out there, they're trying to do everything that they can do, and you hear that, and you're the first words in our minds is, what else do I have to do to get our words out? So the work that we're all doing together, I think, is going to be invaluable on that part alone, because we're not out to hurt any of the bigger nonprofits. We're out to uplift the smaller community nonprofits, the ones who can actually touch the people in our neighborhood, like our beautiful daughters over Amanda's shoulder there. So, but we just want to make sure that we are really taking care of people in our community. And the greatest thing about our program here is, you know what? I am located in Greeley, Colorado, but there's no reason why my program cannot help Amanda and her jelly bean. There's no reason why it can't. There's no reason why we can't help support her Legal Shield program, just becoming partners. There's no reason why Amanda cannot help somebody who's in the Deep South or California. We can help each other through everything. And all it does is it takes a little bit of thought and a little bit of, which is a good thing, because, I always tell people that I blame a lot of things on my head injury. That's one of the excuses I have is, well, I blame head injury. But the truth is I wasn't that smart before the head injury. So, there's more to it. But, so it's an idea that I really hope we see grow, and I see we and I just want to see people come together and remember we are all human. And you know what? We might not see it eye to eye, but that's a good thing. We don't want people who think exactly like us. We don't. Life would be so boring. So, and I don't want anybody who thinks like I do. So, but I appreciate your story so much, Amanda. I really do. And Marianne, I am so looking forward to talking to you about your books, because one of the things that we do is we have what's called the Cub Club. All of my logos and everything have a lot to do with polar bears, because I was that guy that in the motorcycle world, I ride when it's 20 degrees. I'd rather ride when it's 20 degrees than 90 degrees. So they called me Polar Bear. Well, we've got our Cub Club, and one of the things that we try to do is we try to get children involved with raising money or raising items for, and this is a perfect time to do it. You take and you get your kids in the neighborhood, maybe go to your local pizza store, and you say, you know what, can I get a couple free one topping pizzas? And then you say, hey kids, can you take a poster board and decorate what it's like to give to others? You take that poster board and you put them on the sides of boxes and set them out in your local stores for people to donate food and clothing and stuff like that. And it's a way to get the Cubs involved in giving back and learning, hey, helping people can be a lot of fun. It doesn't have to just be work, work, work. it can be a lot of fun. I can put myself into it. And then, of course, when you take and you find out where that box is, you take your child there, you see that that box is getting full of clothes and toys for other kids. The kids get excited. They just get that thrill that look what I have done. Look what I've become a part of. And it's such a great program that we're just excited to get really going on all this.
I love it. I think everything you said is incredible. And I like so powerful, everything that you created. So I look forward to somehow plugging in. I think you can take this definitely North American wide, if not global.
Yep. Well, there's
people need it.
You said that there's no expiration date basically on your birth certificate. The way I see it is I don't have breaks on this. So, we can do, if we can get together, we can do good anywhere and everywhere. The only limitations are people's minds. We can do anything together. I mean, that's the way it is. You think all the way back to Egypt, they got together, they built pyramids without tools. And, we can do that. We can move the world together. And I think that everybody in this program and everybody with some of the other programs that we've been talking about, Emily and Kurt and I have had quite a few conversations the last couple of days, and we're going to be getting involved with some great stuff. This is just the beginning, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. And I hope that everybody jumps on board with what we're doing.
Yep, excellent stuff. So Marianne, take it away.
Well, aloha, I'm Mariana Waikiki. I am the co-host from Hawaii for H&P Ability. I'll be doing the sign language, American Sign Language interpretation for that hour. Anybody can join us. We're starting at 9 o'clock Hawaiian Standard Time, 12 Pacific, and 3 p.m. Eastern with our ambassador, Kurt Roskoff and Emily. So mahalos, mahalos, mahalos to you. And wow, so much to join in this amazing conversation. So Zach, I am the author of the Acts of Kindness series, and with 200 Folk Manus puppets. My first book is Underwater Acts of Kindness for Ocean Cleanup for the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and it was written for the Animal Planet TV show Tank Guys, Wade King, where they build aquariums. So these amazing sea creatures tackle the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and build a wellness tank called Peace, Love, Happiness, and Thanks. And so if you can see me, let's take a little signing break here and let's learn some signs, Kurt. So if everybody can do it with me, this is how you do sign for peace. This is the sign love. Now hug yourself. We need a minimum of 20 hugs a day. So polar bear yourself there, Zach. Happiness is up from the heart, uplifting, and we are happy. Please affirm that we are happy. We've been happy all morning long. H&P from talent to the H&P Asia. Wow, all these new developments of H&P expanding, shifting that happiness. And thank you is from here, or mahalo. So we thank you, Edwin, for having all these different H&Ps, especially worldwide, and the summit last week too. I just wanted to share a few things too. And Zach, I'm still going to highlight on you, but I just wanted to shout out to Lee Rosenberg, who met with me and Leon McLaughlin from the Clean Water Foundation last Friday. And Leon just sent me information too. He is in the water filters are in Peru now. He sent me photos yesterday. And Leon was here last week and we did a one-on-one. I got some new photos. I don't know what happened here. No, sorry. Leon has been on our show too for Compassionate Citizens. There he is, Leon McLaughlin, Clean Water Foundation. He flew over last Thursday for his birthday. Friday morning, I met him at the hotel, nonstop H&P Summit. What a great networking. And then at noon, Lee gave us an hour of his time to talk about for him to fundraise in the future. And for me, because there's a Dorsey Foundation over here in Hawaii that our friend Kat Linker wrote a book about this baron whose grandfather owned the railways way back when. So there is money and gifting there for us to use and how to just word it. So again, Lee took the time to show us clarity. and what we can do and how easy it is for me to write a 3 to 5 page letter to this organization asking for funds so that I can continue to write the books, bring the books into screenplay and animation movies for the schools, as well as worldwide filters with Leon. So Leon's returning next month, by the way. And so we like to set up one-on-ones with you so that we can continue this. And I believe he's actually going to relocate here. We got him to relocate because guess what? We all qualify for senior housing at 55. Moving up into the penthouse now, Kurt. Moving up next year, okay? Moving up. We got 70 some days to the end of the year. I got to get all my paperwork in. I got my to accomplish list. I got to get my legal shield set up so that I'm ready to rock and roll when I move into this penthouse and we can bring filters to the Hawaiian Island schools. So with that in mind, too, is October is anti-bullying month. And so my second book, novel is Rabbit Acts of Kindness, No Bully. And it features 20 more characters, not the sea creatures who tackle the garbage patch and have a hearing loss, but Harry, the hard of hearing rabbit, who has a sign language interpreter named Chelsea, the courageous sign language chicken, and Eve, the finger spelling bumblebee. And they go around the Hawaiian island because he's bullied by a bullfrog and a female French bulldog, okay? And he learns to stand in his power with an enchanted tree, and he has to learn how to sail. Well, gosh, doesn't it kind of sound similar to me, Kurt? I talk about signing for my deaf friend, Scott. Well, that Scott is the Harry, the hard of hearing rabbit. I'm Chelsea, the courageous sign language chicken, and oh, by the way, with that talent, I actually got to sign for Chelsea Handler over here during her concert book series for my deaf friend Scott. And we got Eve, the finger spelling bumblebee. And all of you can acquire this kind of talent too by picking up a puppet. And I know, Kurt, you have, and Emily too, and you've gotten the books. But now I'm uploading Rabbit Acts of Kindness. It's now a novel written for an animation movie with sign language characters. And we bring in introductory words for baby sign language, such as I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, cookie more, etc. And we meet a character named Outrageous Joy, the school teacher. And it's just a beautiful story. And at the end, we have a homecoming parade and we celebrate a first birthday luau over here, which is very common in Hawaii. However, we have to be very limited now, 25 people at events. And but in Hawaii, they celebrate the luau's big time, and it's just nonstop party, the picnic tables, the balloons, you name it. So again, this is another beautiful story of a journey of another puppet with a disability that becomes an ability for him. And again, he learns to stand in his power with the enchanted tree to tackle these bullies. And guess what happens at the end, Kurt? The bullies find out they're missing out. Why? Because they don't know sign language and they feel left out. So they get to become of service at the end. So I can't tell you it all, but I'm very excited to uplift it. Grateful that Dr. Liddy is uplifting me and trademarking me at a federal level. And I'm going to be protected by Legal Shield. So even more, and that was a great conversation too in our masterclass at HNP yesterday to get this done, get this to-do list, to done list, to accomplished by the end of the year, because we're going down to 70 some days to the end of the year. Same thing with your websites, American Disability Act. You need to be in review and compliance for 2022. And you know who would be able to help you is Trevor Gibbs out of Orlando. So I'm partnering with him also. So you need to connect with him and to make sure, again, that your website in review. And well, moving forward to hopefully with that Dorsey Foundation, there's Mr. Scott and I, by the way. That's my deaf friend that I signed for a decade, hands in the air, like we just don't care, and living on a beach in Hawaii. But we want to use that future money to continue my project, Zach, and we have a slideshow presentation that shows that our third sequel book with a soundtrack by Lucy and the Perfect Wave would be about a polar bear. And the polar bears are skating on thin ice, and it's going to be about climate change. And oh, wow, this is going to be a challenging book because there are so much things that are happening. But Suzanne Sims and I have been talking about it, and we'll be hopefully moving forward with that once we get all that funding. And oh, by the way, they came out with a little mini polar bear. So not only that, we have retail products. You know, we just need to get all this great Acts of Kindness books series and the Folk Manus puppets. There's 200 Folk Manus puppets into Walmart and Target and create an ability birthday supply line with all these characters. And again, we take a global topic and show how everyone can be of service and be a part of this world. So Kurt, thank you so much for hosting always this disability channel. Just from statistics, there's 450 million hard of hearing deaf people worldwide. There's millions of moms and dads coming home from being of service who now can't hear their own children or grandchildren. And I myself was a case manager with the deaf 31 years ago when President Bush implemented the ADA, that's American Disabilities Act. So again, everybody needs to be compliant and review, and making sure that a sign language interpreter is present. And sign language is a solution for social spatial distancing, especially for schools. So guess what? We got the good news, and all classroom teachers can receive copies of my books from Donors Choose. They just need to go on Donors Choose, request the book, like my friend Marilyn Rogers did in Kamiley Charter Schools. She got funded in 2 weeks. And guess what? I went out to meet with her schools, and the classroom had the puppets, and I taught them the finger spelling alphabet and the numbers. And guess what now, Kurt? Each chapter of my book has those online courses with Dr. Fingers, the finger spelling hermit crab, Eve, the finger spelling bumblebee. So I can't even imagine yet, Zach, what I'm going to do with these polar bears. So you and I are going to have some one-on-one hug with the Cubs time. Okay, hug yourself. And I'll start making some lists and some notes so that Suzanne and I can start creating for the next year. And so exciting. So the universe is putting us in divine order. And I just want to show you here, this is Mr. Scott. I interpreted sign language for him for over 10 years here. What a blessing. And he is over in California working for the post office, and he is completing veterinary assistant office training. I'm so proud of him. He's following his journey. I learned so much from him. Again, he's Harry, the hard of hearing rabbit. I'm Chelsea, the courageous sign language chicken, and you'll meet Eve, the finger spelling bumblebee. And back to you, Kurt. I'm Marianne of Waikiki, and aloha.
I'm sure Zach would love to have one of those polar bears.
Oh, I'm
Marianne.
already thinking about it. So
Oh yeah, we're gonna have great fun. Great
even
fun.
if you look right here on my desk, I got my polar bears. I've got them everywhere. So yeah.
These are mini ones. So these are the fun ones. And Kurt and Emily also got gifted the book and the mini shark and a hermit crab and the octopus. So I haven't seen this one. And they have a mini horse now for my third book, Righteous Acts of Kindness, about Pono, the Hawaiian polo pony, who has a deaf rider. And again, it's all about parties and parades over here and celebrating and learning lessons. And with the games too is counting. You're counting the horses, you're counting the polo sticks on the polo field, you're counting the rainbows, you're learning the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're going to go play the game. So go out and play. It's going to be unlimited. So, oh my gosh, Zach, I haven't started with the polar bear yet. Now I'm not going to even sleep anymore, Kurt, because you got me going around to India in the morning with the bum bum bums, and then I go over to Talent, then I go to Montreal, then I go here, and oh, by the way, see, I got the little flower in, just like Harry the hard of hearing rabbit. And now my mind is going to be cranking out to the polar bears, for they're skating on thin ice.
Yeah, well, Marion, one of the other things that we do is we already have, we're lucky enough to have 2 books within our program already. We got Baxter the Bat Dog, and then we've got a book called Silly Shadows. And what we do with a lot of these books is we ask people to go on ahead and, if they want to purchase one of these books, but they don't have anybody to give the book to, we ask them to sign it. Just say, hey, this is from the so-and-so family. And what we'll do is we'll take and turn those books into a hospital. So some kid, when the child's sick, they'll have a book from a family. So, we try to do work with authors as well, because I think that reading is very important to children, as it's been proven over and over again how important it is. My youngest son, by the time he was in kindergarten, he was reading the newspaper. And that all has all to do with his mom. I still can't read. I have difficult time reading. So, but and that's why I love seeing Audible behind you. because Audible's my friend. I love books, but yeah, I cannot wait to talk to you, and I cannot wait to meet the polar bears.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, that's in 2022. And thank you, Lee Rosenberg and HMP The Summit for giving us that one-on-one time with Leon McLaughlin with the Clean Water Foundation and Kat Linker, the author. And we're going to have a meeting of the minds again in November to write this pages for asking for the grant money and to make that happen. And I've got a thumbs up from Suzanne, my co-writer. So we're working 24/7, and again, great meetings of the minds and Clean Water Foundation. Again, they just brought over the filters to Peru. Kurt, remember when we had Leon on like 2 months ago, and he was talking about they got the funding, $500,000. They just sent me pictures from Peru with the filters going into homes. So God bless.
There you go. So I think that's gonna do it for this episode. Emily, you want to do a closing for us?
Okay, thank you for Zach, Marianne, and Amanda, who is on here, for being our guest today. And to anybody who tuned in to listen today. And to, please go to our social media. And over to you, Kurt.
All right. Yes. So it has been a wonderful episode. Yeah. Thank you, Maryland. Thank you, Zach, for being our guest today, and a little thank you again after the fact with Amanda having left us. So we hope she comes back at some point. So with our shows and with our podcast, feel free to reach me anytime as you'd like. Feel free to email me, Kurt, KURT, @thedisabilitychannel.us. And you can also call and text me at 262-372-1SKI. That's 262-372-1754. And check out transformupodcast.com and transformubroadcast.com to see some more background on our shows, and take a look on YouTube, the World of Ability Podcast Network. So that'll do it. Thanks for all of your social media likes, shares, comments, and all the engagement on our social media.